My AI aha is, I'm working on this writing project, this book project, and I've been using Claude to help edit my work. I don't write that frequently. I speak more than I write, and I enjoy speaking more than I enjoy writing. But it's been a great editor for me, and I've been uploading different chapters that I've been writing and asking for feedback, which I find to be really helpful and also much easier for somebody who doesn't enjoy writing than getting human feedback. I have a human editor as well who's lovely, but it's much less humiliating, I guess, to get feedback from a chatbot. But what I found interesting was that the feedback across the different chapters really reflected my confidence in the chapters themselves. And the feedback that Claude gave me was unsurprising, I guess, in some ways, but surprised me that it said that the chapters where I really knew a lot more about the content came through as much more helpful, useful, passionate, inspired than the chapters where I had educated myself more recently. And Claude sort of told me that it sounded like I was trying to come across as an expert and sounded more like I was trying to be an academic and less human-like. And then we sort of like talked back and forth about whether I should even try to keep those chapters. And it sort of helped me think through how to restructure the things that I knew well and just like reframe the whole writing project around those core elements. And it was really helpful because I was trying to do everything, and it helped me sort of like focus on the things that I know how to do.
That's super interesting, and actually the kind of feedback that you can really hear and respond to well, right? And I think I'm with you that I'd rather hear it from my chatbot friends than from a human. Are you just uploading the chapter and then asking it to give you narrative feedback, or are you asking it to do line editing, or both?
Just narrative. It's more like, how do these chapters at the moment work together? Because I knew that they were choppy in their current form. So it's like an early read. Do these ideas make any sense together? And I sort of had a feeling that, so like writing them, some of them felt better to write than others. And it definitely picked up on those. But I think the vision I had for the entire project was more comprehensive. And I felt like it had to be. And then Claude sort of helped me see that it didn't have to be. And you'll appreciate this because it obviously remembered this from other conversations. And it was like flattering me a little bit too much. But it said, Clayton Christensen didn't write Innovator's Dilemma about a business's entire problem. It only wrote about how to innovate and how to respond to disruption. So you don't need to write about, a law firm's entire problem, entire business model. You can focus on these 3 or 4 things that you know a lot about, but not these 2 or 3 other things that it doesn't feel like you know as much about, which was like entirely spot on feedback. And that's how it felt when I was writing it. But I felt like I had to include those couple of topics that I was learning about. So I don't know. It felt better to receive the feedback, but it also felt highly personalized, and it brought in that detail of something that I've clearly talked about with it in the past through like the Clayton Christensen reference.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's pretty cool. Well, mine is actually not that interesting, and I wish you'd stop like building up my AI ahas, because as you know, low expectations are the key to life, and like I always taught my kids. And so I don't think mine is that impressive at all. But as you know, I often, regularly, I will ask the same questions to the 3 that I use all the time, Claude and Gemini and ChatGPT. Often legal questions where there is a clear answer that I know something about, so that I can better assess the differences in what they're giving me. But not only, sometimes like strategic questions, because that too, I feel like I can at least assess how thorough it is, whether it's thinking of things I wouldn't have, but a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to you about this, I think on the podcast, about how I was trying to I was using all of them to help me quantify errors that human judges make for lots of reasons, not because they're like trying to cut corners, because they are human beings in an overburdened system, but quantifying how regularly those errors occur and how error is kind of built into the system. That's what appellate courts are for. Because I was writing this essay, which I finally did write, and it's not out anywhere yet, but hopefully it will be one day. But I wanted to then take that and turn it into a few slides. As you know, I'm presenting a lot, often with you, but not always with you. And we are at the AAA, we're building this AI native arbitrator. And the question about hallucinations, which is actually one that there's a really good technological answer to in our case, because you're able to, as you know, train a model, train your model on a closed set of information, and you can actually reduce or get rid of hallucinations. But more specifically, I just want the conversation to get expanded a little bit into as opposed to what. So I took the essay, I fed it into all the 3 chatbots, and I said, turn this into, as many slides as you think I need to tell the story of what I've told in this essay in slides if I'm presenting. And I got really different outputs. And I don't know if I'm missing like some functionality on Gemini. I mean, Gemini did a very good job with the substance, but it wanted to just give me like an Excel with, or Google Sheets, I guess they call it. They don't call it Excel. I'm like messing up my technology companies. They wanted to just give me Google Sheets with what each one would contain. And I was like, no, I'm asking you to actually make the slides for me. Like just make the slides that I can copy and like drop into my deck where I'm talking about all this other stuff. And it just really didn't do a good job with the design. It did a decent job with the content. ChatGPT did the best job, but I'm using 5.0 Pro. So I'm using like the best model there is. It did a brilliant job with the content. I felt like it like picked out like the best parts of it to like organize them in a way to tell the story I was trying to tell in 3 slides. But the design was kind of like, it was just kind of boring. Claude's design was by far and away the best. And I saw it like it did all this coding before it like showed me what it was producing. And none of that means anything to me, but it was like coding. And then it produced like not Mario level slides, but like really beautiful like colors and animation. I mean, it was pretty great slides. But the substance was not as good. So I went back to ChatGPT and I said, look, I really like your substance the best. You're in a contest. But can you take it up? Can you like change it up a little bit? Like give it a glow up, like give me a little bit more in the design and creativity, like make it interesting for somebody to look at. Nobody wants to look at this boring ass black words on a page. And then it did a pretty good job. And it just was a reminder that sometimes you have to like be specific about not only the substance of what you're looking for, but like how you want it to be delivered to you. So anyway, PowerPoint right now, if you tell it to be creative and make it visually interesting, 5.0 is doing a pretty good job.
Did you tell it you're in a competition?
I did.
I wonder if that matters. I mean, I know there's all this research now that it doesn't really matter, like if you tell it stuff like that, but I wonder.
And that's what the research says. But it always still like acts like it cares. So I don't know. And I still don't think we really understand how they all work. So I try everything.